Hello and welcome to episode 42 of the HamCorp Training Manual. In this episode, we will start our bee breeding adventure, going all the way to imperial bees. We will use a world accelerator and set up a rudimentary system to automate our initial royal jelly production. You just watched me do a lot of research. And there's also this dragon egg duplication research, which I didn't even know existed, but that's cool. So the Oblivion frames, we kind of knew this beforehand, that making them is not really an option. So I am going to go through the stronghold method with the atomic restorer. So I still need to do this research, but I'll do that off screen. But the Oblivion frames are impossible right now because first of all, it needs water-infused dust, and it also needs essence of scornful oblivion. The water-infused dust comes from flowing propolis, which needs aqua queens, which obviously we don't have. And the scornful oblivion consumes the dragon egg, so I'll also have to do that duplication thing. It also uses dimensional singularities, which uses unstable propolis, which comes from transmuting combs, which comes from a bunch of different places, all of which are far, far out of reach right now. Just go for the stronghold method. HamCorp would like to apologize that the clip that shows the atomic restorer research and recipe has been lost forever. Alright, I have my aspects, I have my materials, and here we go. Very nice. Now the restorer does use essentia to repair items. Specifically, it uses instrumentum essentia. So we're gonna have to make more of this. Now I don't know what the best thing to use would be, but I have quite a few huge potent fluid pipes from a long time ago. And these are alright. These are what I use to get these essentias for the infusion. So I am going to need essentia tubes for this. So I'm just going to borrow this valve. And we can set this up. There is an orientation to this, so it does need to connect like this. Now we can repair stuff, so let's try it on my wrench, I guess. Doesn't work with the wrench. Let's try this diamond wand. Alright, it's consuming the instrumentum, and it says there's perditio, but that's not real. That's more of like a progress bar. Once that is empty, the wand will be fully repaired. So I've obviously run out of instrumentum, but the diamond one takes quite a long time to fix in here. Yeah, so now, once we have our Oblivion frames, we can restore them, and we only need one. It would be nice to have more, but yeah, we only really need a single one. So I'm going to start exploring, try to find some strongholds, and see if I can find some Oblivion frames. I'm back at the very first stronghold, the one with the end portal. Just to double check if I missed any libraries. Yeah, I've actually discovered a whole new lower floor, so it's pretty likely that I missed a library here. But we'll see. Aha! A library. Surely we just get an Oblivion frame. No Oblivion frame here. Bunch of junk though. I'm gonna throw away like half of this garbage. Sick. First one had an Oblivion frame. It would be nice to get another, so I think I will look for another, but I can rest easy knowing I have one. Look at this sneaky fucking... Ow. Sneaky library that I only saw because of the minimap. No luck here, and no luck here. That's fine. Now it looks like on the minimap that there is another one somewhere here. Yep. Oh, this is the same one that I found before. Gonna make a quick trip home, deposit this garbage, and try to find another stronghold. So next on our to-do list is to get some apiaries. Luckily, we already have some. Found these in a village, and also we don't need these bee houses anymore. Next, it would also be nice to have an apiarist chest. So I'm gonna make this really quick as well. It's basically a chest specifically for storing bees, because this is going to fill up really, really quickly. Because every bee that has different genetics will no longer stack. So these two wintry, well, princesses never stack, first of all, but drones. So for example, if this drone had the nocturnal trait, and then these two drones did not, they would no longer stack. Cool, and I'm gonna move all these bees in here. And this Oblivion frame can have the entire chest to itself. There's also a backpack version of basically the same thing. I'm not going to make that. Maybe I will eventually, just to finish the quest, but I'm not going to make this. Now, this quest is also quite important, the alvearies. These are the next thing to make past the apiary. It's a multi-block, and it needs quite a bit of seed oil and honey, and beeswax. It looks like it only needs 7 seed oil, but the impregnated sticks need seed oil, so it adds up. So this is going to take some time to make, especially because this scented paneling needs royal jelly, and royal jelly comes from imperial bees. We don't have any imperial bees, but we can make them through breeding. Not too far down the breeding chain, but it's a little far. So we are basically at the stage, this bottom layer, not even, because we don't have the common and cultivated, so we're like one step below this even. So we do need to do quite a bit of breeding before we can get the imperial princess. But this is something that I really want to make, and will make a big difference. But we'll come back to that. Now, we can do some actual breeding for the first time, and I'm going to use the other quest line to guide me. So, I need a common princess and a common drone. And these are made by breeding forest drones and or forest bees and meadow bees. There are other ways to get it as well. A lot of ways, actually. But I'm just going to do the forest and meadows, just because I know I have them. So let's take, for example, a meadows princess and a forest drone. Now here's the downside of only having one Oblivion frame. I'm only going to be able to do one set of bees at a time. But that's okay. And it's raining, which I think might be a problem. But to breed 2 bees, you put in the princess at the top, drone at the bottom. They will breed and produce a queen. And the life bar of the queen over here will slowly tick down, unless it's raining. Which it is, so I'm going to have to wait until it stops. But once the rain stops, this will start to tick down. And then once it empties, we'll get a bunch of different things, including a new princess, some drones, and some honeycombs. Now this bee is a pristine stock bee, which is good, because those have no chance of decaying. But you can also have ignoble bees. And after quite a long time, it's something like 100 generations, your chance of losing the princess increases with each generation. It also caps at some point, but yeah, basically ignobles are not great because they have a chance of being destroyed. Yeah, we have a few ignobles, so we'll have to be careful with these ones. But the pristine ones don't degrade, ever. So that's really nice. Of course, don't forget to put in your Oblivion frame. I don't know how much durability this is going to use. I'm not sure. But either way, it's raining, so I'm gonna have to wait till it stops. The rain has stopped. It's a new day, and I'm currently watching, or I was, this just finished. I was watching the bees process, and now we have a new forest princess, forest drone, and a common drone. So that's something we were after, but it might not be a purebred common drone. This might be a case where the dominant species gene is common, and the recessive could be something else like meadows or forest. And that's quite likely. Also, this only used 1 durability on the Oblivion frame, so that's pretty nice. I still will be very careful with this thing. I cannot really afford to lose this. I mean, there's one more stronghold to find, but I don't want to find it. Very annoying. But anyway, let's check out these bees. Forest Princess is a forest, purebred. The drone is also forest, and the common drone is common forest. So yeah, so it's not purebred. It's a hybrid. We want a purebred common drone and a purebred common princess. So I'm just going to repeat the process with another meadows drone. This should be done in about 30 seconds. There it is. No commons this time, at least not obviously so. Let's try maybe one more time. These are both meadows forest hybrids, so these should, I believe, have a chance of mutation, even though they both look like commons. Because they're hybrids, I think it should be fine. I'm actually not sure if that's true, but I guess this is a chance to check it out. Yep, there we go. Common princess, forest drone, meadows drone. Let's see what these really are. Meadows forest, forest common, so that's 2 of those we have now with different genes, otherwise they would stack. And a common Meadows Princess. Okay, we have enough commons in these 4 bees that I'm comfortable just breeding them. And these bees I can just throw away. So this is common Meadows. So I would like to breed this with a common forest, which is any of these. So let's do this one. Because I'd like to match up the meadows with the forest to even further increase our chance of getting common. Alright, we have our first purebred common drone, but unfortunately we lost the common trait in the princess, so we'll have to breed that back in. But cool, we have our first common drone. I'm going to put this aside for now, and then I'm going to get back to breeding until I have a purebred common princess. Okay, we actually got a little lucky. We got a cultivated drone. That's a different mutation that could happen. And this is even a cultivated common, so that's pretty nice. Still no common princess. Gonna keep working on that. And I might start using these common hybrids, just because I already have a purebred common, so why not? And I'm gonna keep this cultivated drone for later. Oh, we got our purebred common princess. So you don't need to analyze the princess to finish the quest, but cool. We bred our first new bee. Next up, we need to breed a cultivated princess and cultivated drone, and we can do this by breeding common and forest together. But before I do that, I would like to get some more common drones. I only have 3 purebred common drones, so let me just breed these for a few cycles. They're not going to mutate because they're both commons, and let me get like maybe 10 drones or so, just so I have a backup stash of drones if I ever lose the princess. I got my stock of common drones. I'm actually going to keep the common princess as well. Also, I'm going to make a world accelerator. This makes time pass faster, basically, for adjacent blocks. Usually this accelerates time in a radius of 3 blocks, but we want this to be in tile entities mode, so it can actually affect the machines or the blocks, or in this case the apiaries. And it goes up to 8 times faster, so that's pretty nice, but it uses 6 amps. So I'm gonna have to also wire up the bee building. 1 bee tick wasn't fast enough for me. I needed to be 1/8 of a bee tick. Now of course to power this thing, we need 6 amps, and a single transformer is not going to cut it. So I could do 2 transformers, or I could use this as an excuse to make the first high amp transformer. I think I'm gonna do that, just so I can finish this quest. No other reason really. Alright, got our high amp transformer, got our HV world accelerator. Do have to check. And then to change the mode, I think we hit it with the screwdriver. And now it's in tile entities mode. TE. Cool, so I'm gonna move this apiary over to this. Now this should be much faster. Let's try to get some cultivated bees. That bar filled up way faster. Oh, it's nighttime. Didn't even know. Alright, let's see how fast. Okay. Got it. Message received. So I got a common princess out of that. Common forest. So let's breed this again with a cultivated. Eventually, I'm going to get a cultivated onto this queen. But not this time. Well, I'm going to keep at this, and I'll be back once I have my cultivated bees. This is the most typical luck for me. I got a purebred diligent before getting a purebred cultivated. Oh, I got a purebred cultivated. I got them both in the same generation. Nice. Now I just need a cultivated drone, and then we can go on to doing diligent and noble. Cool, we got our purebred cultivated drone, and we at one point had a purebred cultivated princess, but now it's a cultivated noble hybrid. Now like before, I want to breed up some more cultivated drones, but I would like them to be purebred, and I would also like to get a pure cultivated princess, just in case. So I'm just gonna grab one of these princesses, maybe this Meadows one, pristine. And first I'm going to get a big batch of cultivated drones, and then I'm just going to repeatedly breed those drones with this princess until this princess is also cultivated. And then I'll continue on to diligent and noble. So I just got an imperial princess hybrid, but I'm still trying to get the majestic princess. So I managed to skip ahead, which is nice, but I still need to do the quest, so I still need to work on getting a majestic drone. But this is good. Imperial princess. Very good. Still need to make it purebred, but Big step. The bee chest is full. Well, time to get a different type of chest, I guess. This should do nicely. These majestic bees are really nice because you get 4 drones per breeding cycle. So it's much quicker to get to this reserve that I like to have. I also realized that I do still need to progress on this top track as well, because the Industrious Princess, which is on this track, produces pollen clusters, and those are needed in making scented paneling for the alveoli. You can also use crystalline pollen clusters, and these come from frozen combs. So I could just chuck some wintry bees into an apiary and just let it run, but I thought it would be nice to just use this as an excuse to also get the Industrious track done. But first, Imperial. I would like to get Royal Jelly in production before I work on the other track. Got my pristine purebred Imperial Princess and drone. And I know that they're purebred, even though I haven't checked their genomes because the quest completed. Now I just need to make a nice big stock of drones, and I can make maybe another princess, and start producing Royal Jelly. I've bred up a second Imperial Princess, and provided her with a drone. Now these two I'm going to use to automate Royal Jelly. I'm going to use a second apiary. This one is going to go here, so it can also benefit from the tile entity speed up. I cut the cable here because this just gobbles a lot of power. So I don't want to have it on unless I'm actively using it. This apiary, I'm going to put in the princess, the drone, and I'm not going to have the Oblivion frame in this one because we want to have the products. We could speed this up with some other frames, and not only speed them up, we can also improve the production. So these all have ×1 lifespan, so they're not going to be any faster, but these do have +1 to production, so we're going to get more produce. I may as well use these frames because I have them, and I believe the effects here stack. The genetic decay is not relevant for pristine bees, but they are important for ignoble bees. But now this bee is going to live out its life. It's going to take some time. We will see that we are starting to get some produce in the apiary. So this is good. We've got our first Royal Jelly. I don't know how much we need exactly for the scented paneling. Hundreds, I imagine. But we also want to automate this. So after this bee lives out its life, it's going to have produced a princess and more drones. I've made sure that the princess and the drones have exactly the same genetics, so it always stacks and there's no confusion. But what we can do is use an item conduit to pull out the drone and the queen and put it back in the apiary. That'll be fine until the drone slot fills up with a full stack of drones, and then it's going to start to get clogged, but I think by that point we'll have enough Royal Jelly and then I can do a better job of automating. I'm just going to make a little setup like this with the item conduit. We're going to have an extract item filter, and we're going to blacklist dripping combs and Royal Jelly. So these don't get pulled out, and then I'm going to turn on insert and turn on self-feed. So now the bees are going to get pulled out and put back in automatically. The other produce is not going to get pulled out. Well, in this case, it doesn't really matter whether or not I add a filter because these things cannot go into these slots anyway. So this filter is not doing anything. But if I have another setup with a chest to deal with the excess bees, then the filter would be a little more important. But since it's not doing anything here, I'm just going to take it out. Now, as soon as these bees are produced, they should be pulled out and put back in. Just like that. The frames, unfortunately, cannot be automated. But okay, I'm going to let this run. And while this runs, I'm going to continue breeding towards the unweary and then the industrious bee. And then I'm going to do a similar setup for the industrious bees so that we can collect pollen clusters. Looks like we need an equal number of Royal Jelly and pollen clusters, so that's another 216 of those. Cool. Thank you for watching this episode of the HamCorp Training Manual. In the next episode, we will continue breeding bees, set up seed oil production, and hopefully set up the first alveoli. HamCorp predicts record high profits in the future, particularly once the higher tier bees are obtained. We will also soon return to focusing on progression. If you are allergic to bees, you're fired. Sorry, but I don't make the rules. See you next time.